The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Pollard streaks in. Touchdown. Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Nick Harris, John Machota, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a Thursday edition of Talking Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the SWBC studios. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Can't complain. John?
I mean, I was telling you guys before the show, sir, I got bit by some fire ants the other day. Left my phone at home today. So,
what?
Yeah. So after this, I got to go run home and get that before the McCarthy press conference.
That's fair. You don't live too far from here, so
No.
that's good. But I don't even know how
I'm on my phone all the time. I don't know how. I just got out of my car and I realized I didn't have it on me.
This would be the one moment like crazy breaking news happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And John's just going to be like, can I borrow your laptop?
No, I got the laptop back there.
Oh, okay,
If
you're fine. All right,
I need to go to that, I can.
Yeah, we're good. That's good.
I'm good.
on?
Sitting next to Ant-Man, I'm good. Straight.
Ant-Man and who's the Wasp?
I don't know.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me, Isaiah.
I don't know.
Oh, man. Good Thursday. It feels like it's a turn of the page. We've turned the page. Usually we do that on Wednesday, but I think the excitement's starting to come back from Cowboys Nation to get ready and try and put that bad taste out of your mouth from last week and do so against the Patriots this week. Cowboys were on the practice field yesterday. We were in the locker room. Felt like Nick and John, both of you guys were in there as well. I mean, it felt like there was a good vibe. It really did. It didn't feel like a vibe of okay, disappointment or anger. It felt like, all right, it's time to move on and get looking forward.
Yeah, especially when you talk to the defense. You know, they've been very adamant about this being a one-off type of bad performance, and that they're going to rebound. This is not their standard. In fact, we were talking to J-Ron Curse, and somebody had asked. He really is. He really is. And somebody had asked him. They were like, do you feel like a lot of things that Arizona had success with on Sundays is going to be something that New England tries to do again this upcoming Sunday? And he was basically like, I hope they do, because we're not going to play the same as we did last Sunday. So I hope that they try to play the same things, because we're going to stop it. So it definitely looks like this defense has put it behind them. Even talking to Micah Parsons yesterday, very much the same feelings. I asked him, how do you kind of put a bad performance like that behind you and move forward? And he gave a pretty good quote just about, being able to take one game at a time and being able to, rebound from this and put it in the past. So I'm excited about this game, because both of these teams have something to prove going into week 4. We kind of talked about it being as must win as it could be in week 4 yesterday. I think it's more so a prove it game for these two teams. New England's coming in 1-2, have the possibility of falling to 1-3. And they talked about coming into the season that, there's still a playoff spot available for them, that even with the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins in this division, that they can compete in this division and get a playoff spot. And then on the other side for the Cowboys, if they lose this game, all of a sudden we're looking at 500 going into San Francisco. So a really tough opportunity for Dallas if they come out with a loss here. So it's a prove-it game for both of these programs.
Yeah, the stuff you said about the defense, that was my biggest takeaway from the locker room, just because of the fact that I feel like if covering this particular team, if something goes wrong on the defense, I would say that there's 3 key guys that I want to talk to, and that would be DeMarcus Lawrence, J-Ron Curse, and Micah. Am I leaving anybody out?
No, that's pretty accurate.
They're usually the ones that are, well, one, they're in a position that they make major impact on the field. So also what they're saying, they can also back it up. Sometimes you cover teams that some of their, some of the backups might be some of the better talkers. That doesn't mean you can't get good stuff from them. But I feel like those 3 are kind of the voice of that defense. And I got the same takeaways as Nick was saying. I think that was the biggest overall thing from the locker room yesterday, just because today will be probably a lot more red zone talk and offense, because we get CD and Dak. But thinking of press conferences and player availability and all that stuff, if you get a chance, go watch Bill Belichick yesterday talk about the Cowboys.
Man.
He opens his press conference with just like, we're going to start with Dallas. And then it's just so monotone all the way through, names almost every single player on that starter. And when it's done, it's 5 minutes. And so the 5-minute mark is what it took before he took his first question, which, and a lot of the questions he takes, his answers are very short, but it is funny how he will do those long. Like the best one by far, if you just look up Bill Belichick, long snapper.
Yeah.
It was just someone asked him a random question a few years back, and he just breaks down all of the reasons why, they're specialists on teams and all these different special teams things that you can tell he genuinely enjoys that part of the game, where a lot of people, especially where the NFL is going now, where they're taking a lot of that out of the game with rules and things like that. But I don't know. That's just funny. If you get a chance, go look that up. I tweeted it out as a full quote, and a lot of people were upset that I didn't break it up in the paragraphs, but I couldn't. I maxed out what was allowed in the tweet. So yeah, 5-minute answer on his breakdown on the Cowboys.
He talked about every single player. He mentioned C.J.
he didn't talk about
Goodwin.
one
He
player.
mentioned Brandon Aubrey, how he missed his first kick. He mentioned Jordan Lewis. Like he knew everything about everybody. He may as well be on the beat.
So I tweet that out. And lo and behold, I did not. I tweeted it out because it's one of those where like you click on the more and it puts the whole quote out there. And I'm not even thinking a lot of people are going to read it. I'm tweeting it out from just the look at how crazy this is type thing. And lo and behold,
People are reading it.
people start firing back one after another. Who he didn't mention? He didn't mention? He didn't mention? Dak. I'm just like, oh my Lord. I didn't look at it that closely to even look at something like that. But there were some people out there had the magnifying glass out and we're just dissecting that whole thing. What do we got here? Who did he leave off? So yeah.
He does that like almost every week, Isaiah, right? Like he builds up the opponent in his press conferences publicly, but there's there you go. But there's also like an intimidation factor with it too. I mean, that's kind of what it is. You look at it and you see, okay, oh wow, he said these nice things about the Cowboys. That's great. And then everybody's like, oh gosh, he said these nice things about the Cowboys. Like, what is the mental game, the chess match that's going on with Bill Belichick when he does that?
Yeah, he doesn't care to do those, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, he doesn't feel as if he needs to disclose any information that's going to put him at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. So he is the master of that, and that goes across the board. That's the expectation when you're in that locker room, that you don't speak out about what he makes it adamant in our meetings when I was out there to not disclose anything. Like, you be as black as possible. Not black and white, just as black as possible. Like, don't disclose anything. Keep everything tight. It's not for them to know. Like, what do they need to know for? That's really his outlook on it. He's not trying to be a jerk. He's just trying to protect his team. Like, that's his number one goal. His number one priority is to make sure that they're in the best position to win ball games, and disclosing information that he has internally to the outside does not do that.
One of the other things that he does that's pretty outstanding on their website is he gets his Isaiah on after games and breaks down one offensive play, one defensive play, and one special teams play. And that is really good, especially after in the previous years when they played the Cowboys. Like, to your point, you can tell, like, in front of reporters, that's probably not his thing that he loves. But when he's doing the breaking down the plays and stuff, he puts a lot of interesting things out there. And just using one as an example, it might have been against the Cowboys, but just how he broke down how they punted the ball one time because where the sun was ending at. So he knew that if you could put it somewhere here, like, just the fact that he had out, like, no, we punted it that way because you could tell in the stadium the sun was starting to get over there. And I was just like, wow, like, just the breaking down the things like that I'm sure a lot of coaches say, but just to hear him break it down like that, and it's Bill Belichick, and you're expecting him to be the guy that kind of like Greg Popovich isn't going to say much, but I'm telling you, when he gets in his element, like, it's great stuff.
Mad genius.
Yeah.
Mad
genius. What are some of the other news and notes to look forward to?
Yeah, I got a few things coming out of practice yesterday. And again, these are tweets via John Machota, the great. Looking at Cowboys who did not practice yesterday, all three offensive linemen were working with the rehab group. We only saw two of them during the media portion, but all three did participate with the rehab group. Tyler Biadasz still dealing with his hamstring, Zach Martin with his ankle, and Tyron Smith with his knee. I feel like there's kind of some growing confidence that at least one of them come back on Sunday, and I would have to assume that at least one of them come back on Sunday. And then CeeDee Lamb and DeMarcus Lawrence did not practice for rest, non-injury related reasons. And then Chuma Edoga was limited with his elbow that he's been battling since the Jets game.
Since you're thinking maybe one of those guys comes back, if you had to put your finger on it, which one do you think is?
I just don't feel like Zach Martin misses back-to-back games. Mm-hmm. That feels very uncharacteristic unless it's a worse injury than we expected. That would be my bet, just because he's Mr. Iron Man.
So you think there's a chance that you go without Biadasz and without Tyron?
Yeah, the thing is, if you go without Biotis, you're in an interesting position because you've already used all three of Brock Hoffman's elevations, which means you're going to either have to put Sean Harlow in there, who the Cowboys picked up right after training camp, right before the season from the Giants practice squad, or Billy Price, who they picked up literally yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a
Right at the end of our show.
very fresh face in there playing center, which we've come to learn in this offense is becoming very important position to play. Biotis is probably the most important one going into Sunday that needs to play. I think it's very crucial for him to be lining up at center on Sunday.
What do you think about that and the possibilities up front?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good week for that. It's just not a good week for that. These guys, the defensive line is solid. They go balls to the wall. It's just not a good week to not have any of those guys. You need all five. It doesn't sound like you're going to have that. So game plan is going to be very important. Not that it wasn't already going to need to be important, but now if you're not going to have all five of your starters that you're intending to have, you got some stuff to figure out because these guys are going to be challenging for sure.
I agree with Nick on the Zach Martin part of it.
Yeah.
That I do think that he would be the most likely. At least we get to see Zach and Tyler on the cords. We didn't even see Tyron Smith at all. So I thought that was kind of an interesting sign there. And then also Mike McCarthy was asked about the potential of working Tyler Smith at some left tackle because of possibly not having Tyron Smith, and he didn't want to answer that. So that makes me think that, yeah, maybe he will get some work over there, Tyler Smith, at left tackle. But still, yeah, that middle of the offensive line, especially with what they have at defensive tackle, that seems kind of scary for this particular game. And the mad scientist on the other side of the ball coaching, that's probably not great.
No. Not at all. Are you surprised on the fact that Tyler Smith did not bump out to tackle last week in the midst of everything happening on the interior? Are you surprised by that, or is that something that you feel like is really an emphasis from this coaching staff? You want to keep him at guard?
I'm not surprised because of the context of the situation, the fact that Tyron Smith went down just 24 hours before the game started. They didn't get him any reps at left tackle. Probably, and y'all would have to correct me if maybe something happened at training camp. I can't recall Tyler Smith taking a rep at left tackle since
last season.
Since last season.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to throw him in the fire like that in a game situation. So go ahead and let Udoga, who's been taking those reps at left tackle in Oxnard and sometimes in practice as well, let him go ahead and throw in at left tackle. Let Tyler Smith go at left guard, and then figure it out next week. Well, now it's next week, so maybe they're figuring it out.
Yeah, I think maybe there were a few at OTAs or mini camp before they kind of made it like, hey, no, we're going to go with this going into camp. But from the start of training camp,
no physicality.
Right. From the start of training camp, I don't think that he has.
I do remember Tyler Smith taking some left tackle reps at OTAs. That does ring a bell.
But outside of, since they got to Oxnard till now, I don't remember him. And from the portion that was open yesterday to us, I didn't see him over there either.
And they've preached versatility, the staff, since they've been here, and Mike McCarthy specifically. So they're going to play him at left tackle if they feel like they need to. It's not going to be like he's doing better at left guard, let's just keep him there while he's... No, if they need it, they're going to throw him out there.
Yeah. For this particular matchup, what do you think they would need him more at, left guard or left tackle, or does it matter?
I don't think it really matters. I think holistically you need a unit that's going to work together. I'm not a fan of throwing him out there, put him on a yo-yo. We need you at tackle, we need you at guard. They did that last year. He went above and beyond the Call of Duty last year to fill that void for them. They opted not to address some things, so now kind of finding themselves in a situation again.
Yeah, I'm interested to see going into this week, one, who's healthy, period, and two, where Tyler Smith ends up. Because if Tyron's healthy, then, I mean, of course, you're going to put him at left tackle. But if he's out for an extended period of time, or maybe longer than we even anticipate from this standpoint, then maybe you do end up having Tyler Smith bounce out to the left tackle spot and kind of get right back on that yo-yo that he had last year, back and forth between left tackle and left guard. Any other news and notes?
Yeah, so obviously the big headline this week is that Ezekiel Elliott is making his return to Dallas. He'll play his first game, not only against the Cowboys, but back in AT&T Stadium. He was asked yesterday on a conference call with the Cowboys beat writers was there any contract talks with the Cowboys after you were released? You know, what were those like? He said there were minimum contract talks after he was released. Here's the quote: "Business is business. Anyone who gets released or gets cut, it's going to be tough mentally, but life is life. It is what it is. It was on me to get back on the horse. You can't let negatives weigh you down. You got to take a negative and turn it into a positive, and that's what I'm working to do." So I think we all kind of expected the fact that maybe there were quote-unquote minimum contract talks with the Cowboys, but I'm sure it was a situation where Jerry was like, look, man, if you want to return, this is your number. And then Zeke kind of went out and saw if he could find a bigger number, and he did. So I found that interesting from the call yesterday.
Yeah. Zeke always going to present some storylines. When you played against former players or former friends of yours, I guess, from time at different spots, did it ever stick in your head whenever you were going up against those guys?
No, it's like a family reunion.
Yeah.
I mean, you compete against these guys in training camp. Whether you're competing against them on another team, it's all competition. You go out there, you give it your best, you have fun, you talk smack, and hope that nobody gets hurt. And that's really the situation, regardless if they're on another team or not. That's just the outcome. You want to go out there, have a good time. You want to hit them in the mouth, talk mess to them. I got you. Put it on film. Have a little. What's the word I'm looking for? A little bragging rights. And then after that, hopefully everybody just walks away healthy, and then you can go on, switch jerseys, do all the other stuff after the game. I'll talk to you later. We'll link up in the offseason type of deal.
Who gets Zeke's jersey? Pollard?
No, definitely Dak.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, that's got to be.
And I actually second would probably be Micah. I'm looking forward to them going against each other, because there were just a lot of times at training camp where I feel like Micah's rookie year, he was playing more linebacker, and I felt like in training camp that's where you really got to see his speed during his rookie season, because you'd see how quickly he'd close on Zeke on some runs. And, it's training camp, they're not tackling to the ground or anything. Yeah. But they've been in those situations many a times and joking back and forth with each other. I remember on some of those practices that reporters were allowed to be at. So I know that they've had those behind the scenes. Then there's that whole, Ohio State, Penn State thing. So those two I want to see the most, because they have somewhat similar personalities too, where I really feel like they know how to, they're superstars with the Cowboys, and they knew how to they became faces, franchise type guys too, like that, big personalities and things. So those two particularly, I'm looking to see if there's any situations where they get a chance to, hit each other, or, Zeke puts his head down, tries to leap over. I don't think he'll do that.
I think I should put my name in the hat, because he's actually wearing the same number jersey that I had when I played in New England.
You wore that 15?
I started with 9. Because I came in as a quarterback, but as soon as I started entering the game as a receiver, the league sent a memo to the team and said, hey, even though you have him listed as a quarterback, if he's going in the game as a receiver, you have to give him at least a quarterback number. So I had to switch to 15. So I was able to still be on the quarterback, list in terms on the depth chart, but when I went in the game, I had to have a 2-digit number as a receiver.
Okay, this is something.
Roger Goodell came after you? That's the story here.
Pretty sure he did do that.
He sent a personal letter
not at all.
to your address.
Not at all. So in my closet, I have 2 different jerseys. I have 9 and I have 15 from New England.
This is something that maybe only I'm interested in, but I am always fascinated by this. What do you do with all of your old gear, like your old jerseys, helmets, stuff like that? Do you have it out, or do you keep it in the closet, or do you ever look at the stuff, or you just kind of throw it away to the side?
I'm a check the box type of guy personally. I played football, but I never identified myself as a football player. So, I've talked to Kyle about this. Achievements for me are just things that are along the journey. So I'm not one to keep admiring stuff from the past. My jerseys are in my closet. My helmets are just sitting up on the bookshelf. Ring is just put away. I just don't look at that stuff that often personally.
Were you ever get anything from a former teammate, like a jersey or something like that, or from an opponent or anything like that? A lot of guys put them up in, their sports rooms, things like that. Were you ever into
my house
that?
Isn't that big, John. So the jerseys that I have acquired, those are sitting in the closet.
Okay. We're going to come watch the game on Sunday in your sports room.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Yep.
Last thing, really quick, you were talking about Micah and Zeke. You're excited about that matchup. We did ask Micah yesterday about Zeke, and he said, I feel like Zeke's coming for me. He used to tell me, you're lucky I'm not out there. I'd really get you. So he has an opportunity to go get him this week.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what 15 has in store. I'm excited to see what this offense does for the Cowboys to rebound against this Patriots defense. And he may not display the helmets or the trophies or the Super Bowl ring, but you better better believe that analyst Emmy is right front and center in that house. It's as soon as you walk in the door, it is sitting right there, and he's going to give you an Emmy award-winning analysis. He's going to give you an award-winning analysis when we come back as we preview the Patriots defense and the Cowboys offense on QB Vision right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas. This segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. We're all smiles in here on Talkin' Cowboys. Hope you enjoy waking up and having your Black Rifle coffee with us each morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. All right, Isaiah, your former team, your former head coach, the defensive mind that is Bill Belichick. What should we look for in the scouting report for the Patriots defense?
Well, first of all, I think everybody knows that Coach Belichick changes up his scheme weekly, like literally weekly. I mean, they might have something that they do majority of the time. They might have tendencies, but they are going to literally change their defense according to who they are playing and what they feel is most threatening. No different than offensively. They're going to try to attack you where you're weakest, and they're going to try to expose that. Defensively, Coach Belichick's going to do the same exact thing. Regardless of what his title is, he's going to be the one calling the shots on that. He wants to play single high. This is a single high team, especially if they don't feel threatened by your pass. So as you look at some of their most recent games, their game plan against the Jets is totally different than their game plan against Miami. Two completely. I mean, you turn the film on, it couldn't be as different, any different than it was. Miami, they went 3 safeties across the top.
I was just about to say, they had 3 high against Miami. Is it to account for the speed that they have?
It's not to only account for the speed, but Miami, a lot of times, their routes that they get open are over the middle, crossing routes. So by having a 3 high safety, their game plan against Miami specifically was to take away that crosser. So whether they were taking those safeties and bumping them back and dropping the middle safety down to a cover 2 look, or whether they were taking those 3 safeties, dropping them down into a cover 3 look and putting that safety over the top, either way, they were able to negate the over routes by Waddle, by Tyreek Hill. So they were able to get the speed, negate the routes that have hurt other teams, a lot of the overs. And so instead of having to pass coverage across, and responsibilities, they have guys literally sitting in those holes. So Miami had to adjust to start running a lot more West Coast type offense. They had to start running a lot of shorter routes, right? So Dallas's offense actually works really well against New England because when they do go single high, they play off. They don't like to play a lot of press, right? They like it's a bend but don't break. That's always been Bill Belichick's way. He'd rather keep you in front of him than allow you over the top. So he'll play single high, cover 3, but he'll play his guys off about 7 yards. Okay, so in terms of the West Coast offense, you're able to get a lot of your passes in, right? The quick outs, the hitches, the flares, all those kind of things that they have been doing primarily in this offense to date. Those things should be open unless Belichick changes up and decides to press those guys up. He has a availability to do that. Obviously, with Christian Gonzalez playing the way that he's playing, it's his homecoming. I'm sure he'll have opportunity to come up and play a lot more press depending on who it is that he's going up against. Brandon Cooks has not been utilized in a way to threaten any defenses down the way to date. That's actually something that we'll talk about in I think Film Room or Special Edition, one of those
other shows that you do. Yeah.
But
Emmy Award winner.
But there's an opportunity. I think this offense is set up to do well passing wise if you are patient. If you're patient. If you try to take your shots, well, we've seen Gonzalez make guys pay. If you try to take your shots and you're not safe about where you put the ball at, Peppers will knock your face off. Right? So they have guys out there that can make some plays in the secondary. In terms of the defensive front, they got some dudes. They got some freaking dudes. Obviously, the one that everybody knows most about is Matthew Judon. He's an absolute dog. I believe he has 4 sacks coming into this game, more than anybody on our team right now, and he is a complete problem. He doesn't have a lot of versatility in terms of his style of rushing, but it's effective. It's effective. He wants to get up the field. If you have a short edge, he's going to take it. If you try to stay high up on him, he's going to spin back. But they do a really good job of constricting the hole, right? Dietrich Wise, obviously, he's another Dallas guy from out here. I don't know what high school he went to. But Dietrich's out there as well. He does a good job of just constricting the whole high effort guys, long arms, really just pushing the pocket back and really just making it hard for guys to get outside the pocket, whether that be the quarterback, whether that be running backs. There's not a lot of running lanes. So running the ball is difficult against these guys because they are so disciplined. They're not gonna be playing peekaboo. They're not gonna choose wrong. They're gonna grab you. They're gonna drive you directly back to the quarterback. They're gonna try to restrict those running lanes, and then it really gets to make it hard for you to just get out. Now behind those guys.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say Dietrich Wise went to Hebron as well, so that was the local product. I want to go back to something that you said right at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you were talking about 3 high looks and the way that they play. They don't like to press.
Correct.
Against the West Coast offense, at least that's what you've seen on film.
Correct.
They're backing up. They're not playing press or playing off. But against the West Coast offense, something that works effectively is the press.
Absolutely.
Disrupt timing.
I foresee that happening.
You think they do
I
that
foresee
this
that
week?
happening. I think they go single high because they know that Dallas needs to get the run going. Okay, so you go single high because why? Because you're able to have another safety in the box.
Yeah.
So you have 8 guys in the box now. If you're not threatened by anything going deep, which Dallas really hasn't shown much of that except for a couple plays by CD, then all of a sudden I'm gonna come up and put my hands on you. All right, I have a big corner, a big rookie that can run with guys. He's fast. He's a 4-4 guy, 4-3, 4-4 guy that can run. He's long, lanky. He's gonna disrupt your timing. The press disrupts your ability to run your outs. It disrupts your ability to be able to run your slants, right? And so I could take away a lot of things that you do that require timing, to Kyle's point. But also I have run support. So if I now can negate Tony Pollard, which is probably one of your, obviously your 1 or 2 greatest threats, then what do? Now I'm able to start taking away a lot of things you do, right? So if I can have 8 guys in the box, take away Tony Pollard because my defensive line, they're going to have outside containment. They're going to force everything back inside. My linebackers are freaking huge. Bentley, number 8, he's a dog. Complete dog. I like him in the running game. Out in space, not so much. But in terms of their interior D linemen and their front 7, their run defense is pretty doggone good. But if you can get behind them on that second tier, they don't do well in space. They'll try to bring Peppers down. Peppers isn't the greatest in coverage as well, but they'll hit you. They will hit you. So you have to make sure that you possess the ball. The ball location has to be on point because they're not going to take risks. They're not going to take the risk that will allow for most of the time for you to have those big plays. So in a nutshell, you have to be really patient against these guys. You have to be really disciplined. Coach McCarthy's going to have to be really methodical in the way in that he approaches the game. He's been doing so to date, I think. So I don't think that's a problem. I think that was more of a Kellen Moore issue in terms of him not wanting to be patient within his offense. But when you're running 75, 80 plays a game, you have patience, right? You have patience. So I'm looking forward to seeing this battle, but it's going to be that. It's going to be a battle. As you start talking about the offensive linemen and who may or may not be here, that doesn't make me feel good. It does not make me feel good because you look across this line and there's not too many guys that are just dominant guys that you have to be concerned about, but they're all high effort. They're all disciplined. They all do their job very well. They just don't get the recognition of a lot of other teams.
The thing I'm most interested in on this side of the ball, this matchup, is that so Bill Belichick's known for always taking away like whatever your best thing is. Mm-hmm. And right now, watching the Dallas Cowboys on offense, I think it's pretty clear the best thing they have is CeeDee Lamb. And you add that in with the fact of what CeeDee Lamb did the last time they played the Patriots. How do you think they try and is it just simple as, Christian Gonzalez is going to follow him? Or how do you think they try and limit what CeeDee Lamb does?
Be honest with you, I think they may have Christian Gonzalez follow him.
This is crazy because I had this same exact question in my head.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for you. I was sitting there looking at John like, are you reading my head? I had the same exact question.
No, I really believe that. I believe, so if I'm projecting in terms of what I believe Coach Belichick is going to do, I think he's going to go single high safety. I think he's going to come up and press. He's going to put his hands on everybody. B. Cooks has been negated to running short routes, right? The time B. Cooks has been having to convert all of his routes versus two high safety. So they might roll coverage to him just to take him out of the game, take out the possibility of throwing the ball his way, and then come up and press CD. Because now I'm going to force Dak to be accurate. I'm going to force Dak to be accurate down the field. That's if I'm Coach Belichick and what I've seen on film and what he's done, I'm going to come up, I'm going to put hands on you, I'm going to disrupt your timing. Dak has not held the ball much beyond 2.5 seconds. When he has held the ball past 2.5 seconds, bad things happen. Right? So if I can play to that strength as much as possible, come up, put my hands on you, let Judon go crazy, because especially if you have a tackle that's not your starting tackle, why wouldn't I let him go crazy? And then they bring pressure with Judon, they bring pressure with Bentley.
I like Keon White as well. That's another one they got that's just been really active off the edge. They got some guys in the pass rush game.
I just remember Christian Barrymore was a guy that when the draft was around, I remember it was a guy that talking about a lot just because this is pre-Mozzie, like, this could be a guy that the Cowboys could get to potentially help in the middle of their defense. And I haven't watched him super close, but I mean, it sounds like he's living up to, the high draft status he had coming out of, it was Alabama, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Who was it?
Christian Barmore.
Yes. Yeah, Barmore.
From
Bama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Bama.
D tackle. So, yeah, that's another one that I don't know. I just think when I think of these Bill Belichick defense, I usually think of them being pretty good in the middle of that defensive line.
They're always big.
Yeah.
They're always big on the interior, and they always have guys on the outside that have good size that can constrict and rush. Right? That's what they just want to. They just want to take this little bubble and just close it in. Yeah. That's all they want to do. They just want to take a big bubble and just close it in, right, and make it hard to breathe for quarterbacks. And I think they're really going to test Dak. Dak has not been forced to put the ball down the field. I think they are going to say, all right, have you fixed your issues from last year? He only has one so far. Have you fixed that? Let's see. All right, you've been real comfortable sitting back there throwing little 5-yard, 6-yard routes. Let's see what happens when you try to put it down the field.
It goes back to what you were saying a second ago, where this is a team that doesn't get the same type of pub as it used to whenever they were in the middle of the Patriots dynasties. This defense is still nasty.
Yes, they are.
This defense is a possible top 5 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think they're right there, if not borderline. So either way, it goes back to what we've always talked about, the Dallas defense, the playmakers at every level. And you see defenses like that every once in a while, but it's not only just the playmakers at every level, it's the depth and the rotation that they have. And that's kind of like what Nick was just talking about. You have multiple guys that can rotate in and have some success. I'm most nervous about the way that the offensive line holds up against this front. That's where I'm the majority of the concern. I think you're still going to get separation with CeeDee Lamb. I think Brandon Cooks finds a way to get separation. I think you can even use Michael Gallup a couple times in this matchup specifically. But in terms of blocking the front seven from New England, that's where I have pause, and I'm legitimately concerned.
Yeah, I think that Coach McCarthy's going to be tested more this week than he has all season, in the regards that he's going to have to open up the playbook. He's not going to be able to keep the same style of offense against these guys. He's just not.
I did find it interesting thing of talking about open up the playbook, how when there's these big leads and you're blowing out the 2 New York teams, that's when you get a lot more of the, Kevontae Turpin, Deuce Vaughn. Yeah. And then when it's a tight game, No, guys. We're not doing any of that right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I mean, he tried. So last week against the Cardinals, Coach McCarthy tried to open it up a little bit. He tried to get the ball to B. Cooks. He tried to get the thing down the field, but there just wasn't time.
Yeah.
There was not time. So it's not that he's not trying to, is that he's caught in a dill pickle because he's like, well, especially this week, I'm most likely not going to be able to run my quick game the way I want to because of what Belichick's going to present in terms of press, in terms of guys being in the box and not a lot of throwing windows. But I also don't have the time to sit back there with Dak and throw the rock. So now, if I don't get my running game going, I can't get Dak on the move. I can't get guys on the over routes. Like what am I going to do? You have to be able to draw back and just throw the ball as well beyond 10 yards. And that's what I'm interested to see how he's going to incorporate that.
And that's what they did really well whenever they went up to New England a couple of years ago. Yeah. I mean, Dak was really able to push the ball downfield. CeeDee Lamb had a huge game. Yep. We all remember the touchdown at the end of that game, of course. But I would love to see some of that reintegrated, especially after what we've seen the first 3 weeks and everything's been so, dip and dunk. Yep. I want to see 15, 20 yards downfield. I need to see that action. And I feel like that's what you're going to have to do to win this game.
Correct.
That was such a memorable play and just how everything that happened there because that game and everything was just taken off for the Cowboys. Yep. And on that play, it's a great play, but it's also the one where Dak strains his calf. And it was like even after he came back, it was just never quite like it was as it was going up that season. So to your point yesterday when you're talking about the Joe Burrow, the calf thing and all that, like it is interesting because, of course, like Dak's never going to tell us, week 12, the calf still bothered me a little bit from the New England game, so you're never really knowing that. But just their play was never the same after that. Dak aside, if you could just pick one player from the Cowboys that you say, hey, if they play their best game, the Cowboys will be good shape with this one. Who would you say? I mean, obviously, I think Dak would be number one, but outside of Dak, is there, a wide receiver or offensive lineman, or is it Pollard?
I think it's Pollard.
Yeah,
I think they have to find a way. As tough as that matchup's going to be. I'm really trying to stress this defensive line because I could say names all day long, but people aren't really going to recognize because of the roles that they fulfill for New England. They don't have the big name guys outside of Judon. They just don't, but they do a damn good job of their responsibilities. They are well coached. That I do know. They're well coached, and I think if you can't get Tony Pollard going, you're going to find yourself in a rough spot against these guys. Because Coach Belichick can get in his bag, and he has a bag. He has a freaking bag. A deep bag. I mean, you're talking about somebody, you were just talking about it earlier in the segment about, his film study and how he was breaking things down. Listen, this is a guy who sleeps at the stadium sometimes. Like, legitimately sleeps. Like, has a cot in his office. Like, he does not sleep, especially when they're 1 and 2. Trust me, he's going to be in his bag. He's going to present things. He's not going to do it just because, though. All right, he's going to wait until you're in a situation that you have to do something, and now he's going to be like, got you. So you have to keep him on his heels. They're going to bend. They're going to give a little bit, but run the ball. You have to be able to move these guys off the ball. If you can't move them off the ball,
It was during this segment last week whenever you were outlining the Cardinals' defense and what they did from changing coverages and the disguising of coverages. So because of that, there was a lot of pre-snap, post-snap film watching this week from a lot of Cowboys fans out there. When we come back, I want to talk about Dak Prescott. Where is the pressure on Dak? How does he look at this pre-snap, post-snap, kind of like what he did last week, and how does it change moving forward against this Patriots defense? When we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys right after this.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. This segment is brought to you by Quaker Oats, a super trusted superfood. Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. You want to know something I learned about Isaiah Stanback today? I learned about it this morning. I got here a little bit early, got some breakfast, and
Did we get a chance to guess?
You wouldn't guess it. No.
Okay.
Speaking of super trusted superfoods, Isaiah's never had an avocado in his life.
I could have guessed that.
I haven't either.
Just right off the dome?
I haven't either.
You've never had an avocado?
I've had guac, but like I'm not a huge guac guy. Like I'll eat it if it's there, but
Have
I'm
you
not
had
gonna...
guac?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well,
so he's
there you go.
I'm not. I've had it once. I'm not a fan. And you know what really made me not a fan of it is that it was at a party, and so after like a few hours, like just the way when it was sitting out, the way it looked, I was like, I'll never eat that again. Like it just, I don't know, it's just gross to me. Like I don't know. It doesn't really have a huge taste, but it just is one. I'm not a huge. Yeah, exactly.
Big party animal John Machota, we just learned.
He said he was at the party for so long that the guac turned brown. That's what happened.
Rough night. Rough night of Modelo's. Miller Lights.
You guys doing up there in Detroit?
Miller
That's
Lights
fun.
for sure.
Man, yeah, I'm okay. I don't know if I have ever thought that deeply about an avocado in my life, but I love avocados. I love guacamole. It's great.
My wife loves them, but she can eat anything. I have a little kid taste bud.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Chicken fingers and fries?
When I used to eat chicken, yeah.
Yeah, when you used to. That's fair. Yeah. You're a shrimp guy now, though, right?
Yeah. You know what? I'm about to start eating everything, though, Kyle.
What?
Breaking news.
Wait, what?
I have to go to Africa after the season, Kyle. I can't be out there talking about, I just want beans, please.
Yeah. When's the last time you had chicken?
It's been a minute. Since the last time I did something with Raising Cane's.
I don't think.
When was that?
I think that might be my number one on my list of things I can't live without.
Is chicken?
Yeah, in terms of food groups. Yeah, in terms of food.
Yeah,
like
pretty much right there with you.
I mean, steak is I don't know, but there's just so many different things that I don't know.
Chicken's versatile.
Yeah, I couldn't give up chicken.
You can do a lot. You can do a lot.
Wow, that is crazy. So,
I
you eat beef?
Grilling. I haven't eaten some of that stuff in a while, John. But I'm about to incorporate some stuff. Yeah.
He's just now started eating fish again. He was complete vegetarian up until like this training camp.
For a while.
That didn't change the way you felt or anything after, like, obviously playing in the NFL. And I would think that, I don't know, actually, now that I think about it, are there guys that are vegetarians in the NFL?
There's one on the team. I forget who. Gosh, keep talking. I'm gonna remember.
I just think of, I don't know, for me, for NFL, I always think of like
protein.
Yeah, it's almost like, in a way, like, you know how a lot of these offensive linemen, like Joe Thomas and some of these guys, right after they retire, they slim right down. So I'm just thinking, because I think Tyron might be like that, where he has to eat so much to keep it on, you know, because he just burns a lot of calories like that. So I always think of, and I'm sure there's a lot of protein in your diet and that, but I'm just thinking of, to keep that on to play in the NFL, because I always just think you have to have like body armor, you know, on you.
There's a lot of different ways to get protein.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of different ways to get protein.
Interesting. Yeah, that's the conversation. Nick's still searching for.
I mean, I can see it in basketball and baseball and something, but NFL, I always think of that these guys are just eating as much as they possibly can because you burn so many calories and you're working out and all that. But,
now, don't get it wrong. He still eats a ton.
Yeah.
He still eats a lot, but just not meat.
Okay.
Not yet, anyways.
All right.
Whenever he's going to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. That is not the conversation I thought we were going to have in this segment.
You brought it up.
No, I did. It's my fault, but I'm interested. All right, Dak Prescott, you talked about pre-snap, post-snap reads last week against Arizona. How will the Patriots challenge him in that same level?
They just rotate late. They don't do complicated things defensively. At least not from the standpoint from the quarterback. I don't think that he's going to be confused as to what the defense is presenting. I just think it comes down to execution. I mean, you're not going to catch, for the most part, these guys are still humans, right? They're just very disciplined. They're going to be where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do. So, the defenses that cause your concepts some issues, you got to choose right. You're not going to, the chances of you catching somebody out of place are slim to none, just because of how disciplined these guys are. I mean, that obviously comes from their coach, but he just has to be smart. Just be smart with the ball. Don't take risks. This isn't a team that you could take risk against. You don't want to do that. Keep them on their heels. Make the right decision, and again, be patient. Coach Belichick banks on you getting impatient. That's what he waits for you to make that one mistake. I think the New England in general has been that way for a while, as we talked about the Brady versus Belichick thing. Like, defensively, New England's always been the team where you're like, just don't make a mistake against these guys. Just work your way down the field. They'll give, right? You can take your shots, but just don't make that one mistake, because as soon as you make that one mistake, it's like, oh.
I mean, everything he's saying right here, and I think it's because I'm almost positive it happened in Arizona, because we're just at that stadium, and it just makes me think of, like, everything he just described, even on that last segment too. It's really that Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl, how it's like they'll let you go down the field, and I mean, they're just mauling them, and you're just like, oh, Seahawks are going to win this game. And it's like, boom, they get right on the goal line. Now, probably should have given it to Marshawn Lynch, but like you say, and then it's a guy like a Malcolm Butler, where it's like, we know Malcolm Butler's name now. Who knew his name before that play? I'll even say that there was some video of Tom Brady after the game, like, way to go, Malcolm, where I was like, does Tom even really know Malcolm? But no, I mean, obviously he does now, but it was just one of those things where I will never forget that game, because I was like, this is typical Belichick. They're going to make this play at the goal line by somebody that you really don't know that well, and it won them a Super Bowl like that. It's just crazy.
If you're on the field playing in New England, he trusts you. It's just, I don't care who else knows your name. Yeah. If you're on the field playing in New England, he trusts you, because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't do it consistently, you're not going to be on the field.
Yeah.
Period, point blank.
It's so interesting to think about the ins and the outs of the Belichick-led franchise and what he's done. I mean, he's a legend for a reason, but it also presents a challenge even when they are 1-2. And this obviously isn't the same talent that they've had on that team and in that franchise for quite some time, but they're still going to bring a lot of those same challenges, like John was saying. Like, reminds us of the Super Bowl Patriots. This isn't that team by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a team that's going to present some of those same principles and some of those same challenges to the Cowboys and make it happen. So, did you ever find the name?
I didn't. I found out Justin Fields is vegetarian. That's all I found. I thought it was Jonathan Hankins, but it's not Jonathan Hankins.
I kind of think
that'd have been interesting.
I'm going to come back to it. It's somebody like that that's just like you would never
massive
imagine.
human.
Yeah, but I'm going to.
There's a couple documentaries that were talking about some guys.
Would it be Osa? No?
I don't think so.
We're just going to start asking everyone in the locker room.
Yeah. Are you vegetarian?
Are you vegetarian?
Hey, bro.
Do you know who?
With the way everything's going, though, with everything Isaiah said and knowing that Belichick background, and I'm sure the guys are getting hammered with that all week long, coming off that ugly performance against the Cardinals, I mean, I would just be stunned that if they were to, I mean, I was stunned watching them.
I was about to say, you said this last week, too.
But if they put back-to-back games like that, I mean, that's it's just time to panic a little bit.
It's physical,
it is.
right? I think this is going to be the most physically challenging game that Dallas has had. Obviously, we're talking about the cerebral aspect of it, but in terms of physicality, this team is built to beat you up. So that's how his teams are. I mean, Harold Nash, the strength coach for the Dallas Cowboys now, that's where I met him at. I met him out in New England, and I had never lifted weights like that in my life. And based upon their personnel that they have, they're still that way. Their linebackers are 6'2", 250 pounds. Their D linemen are 290, 300 across the board. Like, this is a physically demanding team. They want to hit you. Peppers is at the third level, walking his way down. He's a big safety. You got Bentley, who's walking down there. Like, these guys want to hit you in the mouth. Dietrich wise. Doesn't stop. He's just the lankiest, biggest dude you've ever seen in your life. His arms go down to his ankles, and he just has a motor that's just out of this world. Where it's like a size 27 shoe, something stupid, right? Just doesn't stop, man. You know, like that's just their way defensively, and that's how they're going to approach it. So hopefully the offensive line can figure it out, because physically it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for this matchup. I really am, because I'm excited to see a Cowboys rebound. Like, that's what I think is going to happen. Like you said, if it doesn't happen, then I think it's panic mode a little bit.
Where's do you have the cap off?
So where the button is currently, the cap is off.
Is your hand hovering?
No, the cap's just off.
So your hand's on your lap.
I think it's.
I'm looking at it.
Oh, you're looking at it. Mm-hmm. Corner of your eye or like both eyes?
I might be like on my phone, like.
Okay, so it's in a
kind of
peripheral.
sitting next to it.
Yeah.
But you would be able to get there quick if you needed to.
The cap is open.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't go the way you want to, like, is your phone going down at that point and both eyes are going to the button?
It depends how bad it gets.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Because let's look at it. If they lose this game down to 2-2, traveling to San Francisco Sunday
after
night,
a really physical game.
After a really physical game.
Yeah, this is back-to-back physicality, man.
And you got to take 2 road trips out west against 2 really good offenses.
All right. Well, all right. That's it for Talking Cowboys. We will be back tomorrow. Nick is going to give us 3 under-the-radar players in this matchup that will make a difference on either side of the ball. So we'll have that tomorrow. Plus, we'll have our picks as well. We'll give an update to the standings and how that went last week for us 4 in studio. But that does it for us here on this Thursday. For Chris Beam, Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you tomorrow with some more Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?